Welcome back to the channel. This is for the third part of our make-along called Tala's bag. I'm quite surprised actually. Nobody's actually guessed where the name comes from, despite my little hint in the title card. So I'll give you a second hint. Does this mean anything to people? It's not the owner, but it's to do with the owner. Or maybe the person with the owner. This is your hint. And the cat woke up. As soon as I start talking, the cat wakes up. Anyway, so for this part 3, we are doing the top edge and the handles of our bags. And yes, I am a day late, but I'll show you why. I have done one. This is the 8-ply with 2 colours. 2. This is the 4-ply with 2 colours. 3. This is the slightly softer rainbow in 4-ply. And finally, 4 bag bodies in this last week. And this one, I have actually finished the handles. Now, I made the handles on this one shorter. For the one I'm showing you today, I will do them longer because it'll be more useful. This is not bad, but I like a longer handle. So if you have a look, it is quite a broad handle and we are using all the colours. It's generally done on, mostly done in moss stitch, and I will show you how to do that. Once again, all this will be written in the pattern that will be available after the make-along's finished. You've got to give me a little while to write the pattern out properly because it's all scribbled notes in my books at the moment. So I will move across to the other camera and we'll get started. Excuse me while I hop on my chair. Alrighty, so first of all, I'm going to measure these so you know how big I have done them. So this one, now this is me measuring from the top edge to the bottom of the base. This is just under 20 centimetres, so that's the 8-ply. This is the 4-ply in 2 colours. This one is 22 centimetres. The rest should be the same because I was measuring them against each other. To double check. No, they're not. Okay, where are we? This one is nearly 24. Different colour material, I think. Now this one I'm only going to measure up to where I started that. 23. So they're fairly close. Now, I'll just show you the yarns that we used that you didn't see in the last one. So this one here is what was used in this one. So this is the second colour, and of course we have the 2 Garuk that we've been using for all the 4-plies. So that's what this one is. You didn't see this one, or you did, but not much of it. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I think I'll show you on this one. And with these ones, what I did is I did the dark to light and then reversed it. There was 9 colours in this one. There wasn't as many in this. How many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's only 6 colours in this one. So that's why the patterning, I'll go slowly. That's why the patterning has done that. And then when I got to the green again, I reversed it again. And we finished with the yellow. All right. Now none of these have the ends woven in. I just, after doing 4, I wasn't up to doing all the ends. I'm going to do them all together. And what I'll also do is I'll do one last video when they're all finished to show you what it looks like inside, outside. And I think with this one here, I might line this one because it's more of a handbag size. So this one might be lined. This one's only going to have 1 strap handle. I will do that last because the majority of it's going to be the same as the 2 straps. It's just the spacings will be different. So anyway, we better get onto it. Otherwise, this is going to take us all day. The video, I mean, not you. So the first thing we need to do, this one has been done, so we'll have a better look at it. Get the strings out the way. Is we need to do this top edge. All this top edge is just brings it in slightly. You see that it brings it in slightly here. It gives us a consistent edge to work to. I think this is too far away. Just move that a little. Right. Yeah, so it gives us a consistent edge. It brings it in. It stabilizes it. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do first. So the first thing you want to do is, I will move that out the way, is to get your bag. I'm sorry for the flashing on the screen. I will try and slow down a bit. Is you want to lay your bag flat. Now, you should have 42 clusters around your top edge. Granny stitch clusters, that is. So, half of 42 is 21. So you need to find some stitch markers, which I have a couple here. Stitch markers, and the cat's alive again. Flatten your bag out and put a marker, move it across so you can see, put a marker on the cluster that's on the very edge. Now, you don't have to count this one, just flatten it out so the base is flat and just put one that's right on the very edge. Now count across 21 clusters, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16, 18, 20, 21 is right there. So we just put a marker, when I can get the marker to close. So we put a marker on each end. That's basically divided our bag in half. Now, what we need to do now is to join up our yarn. Now that one's not attached to anything. No, it's not. With just a normal slip knot. I'll start that again in case you wanted to see how I do it. So I go over and then grab that one, twist them over and put that end over. Ignore my cut finger. I've been doing too much crochet. So I've been using different hooks. I've got 3 different hooks here because I didn't want to take the yellow hook away from the rainbow bag, and I was working on this bag. So so that is a really long tail. Let me make that tail shorter. I mean, you want a long tail, but you don't want an excessively long tail. All right. So a standing, the cat is singing to you. I apologize. She just decides. So our first row is half double crochets. Let me put my glasses on. Now we want to start. There's our marker to represent where the sides of the bags are. We want to start in the first stitch past the marker. So you put a loop on your hook and then you go through, pick up, and then pull through the lot. All 3 loops. That's called a standing half double crochet. So I'll do it again. 1, 2, and then pull through the lot. Like so. Okay. Straighten it up so you can see. Now, the reason why I do a standing half double crochet is it gets the knot up. It gets the knot a little bit away from the stitch. So when you join it up, that knot's going to be easier to hide. It doesn't make a hard place on the fabric of the bag. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to keep doing this all the way along, 1 in every stitch. And when you get to the marker at the other end, just go over the top, because the marker is going to sit between the stitches and it should be fine. So I'll be back once I've gone all the way around, and we're going to join with a slip stitch to this stitch here. All right, so we'll just pause that. All right, I'm back, and I'm going to apologize ahead of the time. My cat has decided today it wants to be a backup singer. She's deaf, so I can't really even tell her off. She won't hear me anyway. So we're back to where we started. Now with the standing stitch, I usually go into the one behind and do that as the slip stitch, only because that loop is a bit loose. It makes it easier to hide, but just make sure that you do put a stitch in this hole and in that hole, otherwise you'll be a stitch short. So we chain 2 and we will do, so that chain 2 counts as this whole stitch, and we will do one more row of half double crochets while listening to the cat yell at me, and I will be back when that is done. Okay, so we're back again. Now if you remember when we restarted, we said that this counts for this hole. So once again, I am going to, actually no, not once again, because this is not a standing half double crochet. So we will go into the top of the second chain, so we don't lose a stitch. Pull it tight and pass it over. So that's a bit wonky, but that counts for there, if that makes any sense. Now we are going to chain up 2. So what we need to do now is we need to half double crochet 20 half double crochets. Now let me just do this and all. First one past that is always the hardest. Right, so we're counting this as a stitch. So we got to do 20 of these. So 1, 2, 3. Actually, I won't make it wobble. I will pause it this time. All right, so we've just done the 20. Before I go any further, I just want to say 2 things. First of all, as you remember, I'm making this up as I go along, writing down in the weeks between the videos. And if you remember at the start, I said you'd need 1 ball of your base colour. I've had to start another ball only because I've used it on multiple bags. So I'm guessing if you're only making 1 bag, you'll be coming close to finishing your first ball, depending on which brand you use. I mean, if you're using this brand, which I'm using, yes, you will be coming close to finishing your ball. That being said, you've only used this colour for the base and the straps. So if you want to risk it, stay with 1 ball, but you may want to scrounge around for another one or a bit more that matches in. Just wanted to say that. When I finish this, I'm going to make 1 bag. I have a complete pack of ombres in my stash, which will give me the weight and the length. So I'll make a whole bag with that, so I can give exact amounts on the pattern. I apologize if you're running short, but as I said, I'm making up as I go along. Now with this top that we're doing, I'll just pull it down. You've got to make sure you haven't lost any stitches. So you should have 126 stitches here. My numbers aren't going to work if you don't have 126 stitches. Now, that also being said, you can hide or gain stitches in the end parts. You can gain stitches in the end part because it'll make it stronger. Don't say the other thing, it's just confusing. Anyway, so what we've done our 20 half double crochets from where we started. I've just put that on a loop there. Now we need to count 23 across and put another marker, because this is the gap for the handle. I'll just show you here. So we're up to here. We need to be leaving this gap here. And this is 23 stitches here. What you'll end up having is you will have 40 stitches here, 40 stitches at the other end, and 2 lots of 23 in the middle. And if my maths is correct, that'll be 126 stitches. So I will not bore you with me counting. I will count off 23 stitches and I'll put a stitch marker in the 23rd stitch so that I know to go into the next stitch. And I might actually no, I won't. I was going to say I might put it on the other side, but I won't, because I want to do the 40. So I'll be back once I've put that done. All right, so we've now got The green marker is in the 23rd stitch. So we need to get from there to there. Now, if you want a short handle, this one was 60 foundation half double crochets. Yes, we are doing foundation stitches. You can do a chain stitch if you want. This is the row here. You can do a chain if you want, but what it does is it is a tighter tension and the inside of your handle will be very tight. You can do a chain and then pick up on. So this is 60. So this will make a little carry bag handle. I want this one longer. I want that as a shoulder bag. So I think I will be doing 80. 80 will get me up to there. I might even do 100. I will let you know when I'm back of the foundation half double crochets. Now, what is a foundation half double crochet? I'm going to see if I can do this. Pick up my stuff. I've got to do it around the microphone, so it might be a bit fudgy, and I apologise. Now, I'm going to try and hold it up. Right, that's gone good. So, our normal half double crochet, we're like this, but what we want to do, if you turn your stitch over, let's see if I can pull this out so I can show you which one we're going for. I'll use the needle then. If you see here, there is a loop there and a second loop there. And the cat's yelling again. I don't know why. She's decided today's her day for singing. All right, there we go. So they're the ones we want. It's a pair that under where the string comes out for the stitch. Okay, so we'll put the hook back in, tighten the stitch up again, pick up our loop. Now we're going to go in across here and pick up those two strings that you saw. All right, so that's what we've got in our hook at the moment. So pick up a loop and pull it through. Now we only want to go through the bottom one. Now I hold that so it doesn't get too tight and pull through the lot. Pick up a loop. Now the one we're holding is the one we go through. That way it's not too tight. Trying to do this incredibly slow. Right. Still the two loops. I'm trying to make it so the camera doesn't go out of focus. So we pull through and we do one stitch in that one. Hold it and then pull through the lot. Pick up a loop and then pick up those two again. All right. So once again, we have 4 on the hook. Pick a loop. Now only go through the first ones. Do a chain. Keep a hold of it so it doesn't get too tight. Pull it through the lot. Pick up another one. Pick up the 2 that you were holding. Make sure the second one isn't split. Come on, you can do it. Don't split. Pick up a loop. Pull it through only the first one. There we go. Now, did I do it? I can't remember if I did it. Yes, I did it. So this one is the one we hold. Pull through the lot. Pick up a loop. I'm going to do one more and then I'll stop talking about it. Now, I'm being really awkward about this because I'm looking around the microphone. So this is the one you got to remember. You got to remember to pull through and then do a chain. Okay? That chain is the base of your next stitch. This finishes the stitch we just did, and like that. So that's what we've got now. That's foundation half double crochet. I'll show you the back of the stitch, and then all along the bottom we have the chains. If the camera is going to focus, can you see the chains, the little V's or upside down V's? Teardrops. They look like teardrops upside down. So that is how we do it, and you want to do 100 of these if you're doing a shoulder strap. I'm going to go with 100. Actually, no, what I'll do 80, and I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll decide whether we need to do 100. All right, I'm back with my 80 foundation half double crochets done. It's taken me about 20 minutes, and I do them incredibly slowly. And if you can see, some of mine are a bit looser than others. That is all right, because we're going to be putting what do you call it, moss stitch on it, and that will tighten it up. So this is I can't show it all on the screen, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the middle to the top of the curve, and that gives me an armhole of around 20 centimeters. I actually think that might be enough for this bag, because the other bag was 60 and it was just too short to go on your shoulder, whereas this has got another 20 in. And what I did, that marker there is at 50, so I didn't have to count from one all the time. So I'm going to stop at 80. You can do it as long as you like. You have a look, because you might have different yarn than me, and it might look better a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. I'm just giving you the amounts that I used. So now what we want to do, so I want to make sure that this is not tangled. Get that the right way around. Yes, I know, I just took it off. Now I'll put it back on again. Anywho, what we want to do, we've just put a loop on. That's our last stitch there. This is our bag. That's our marker saying that's on the 23rd stitch that we're skipped. We go into the next stitch and we do a normal half double crochet. And I'll just do 2 half double crochets. All right, now I'll just show you. Now what you're going to have a floating corner. And what I mean by that is if I pull this stitch straight, you see that's floating. We will fix that up at the end. It's all right. What I might do is I might just so it doesn't stretch, is just catch that with the stitch marker. There we go. Just so it's not going to stretch out. And right, so now we need to do 40 half double crochets. Then we want to do another 80 foundation half double crochets. Skip 23 stitches, join it up and do the last 20 half double crochets. What I might do is I will do the 40. I will come back and I will show you, give you a look at it. Then I'll do the other 80 and join it up. So I'll see you once more before I do the second handle, and then I'll see you when the handle is all connected. All right, I'm back now. So it's very blown out. I put my hands up here so it's see a bit better. So we've done the 40 around the corner, and we've stopped here. This is our loop here. I've counted 23 stitches along here to skip, so that's in the 23rd stitch. I'm now going to do the 80 foundation single crochet. What I'll do very carefully, so just go like that. That's our loop, and that's where we've got to end up. So we'll do the 80 here, then we'll join up here and do the last 20 to join up with that one. And I'll be back when that's done. I'll try and put this back without making you dizzy. There we go. Hey, if I put my hands there, the colour's better. All right, so I'll be back when I've done that. Just nipping back in here, make sure when you go to attach your handles that they are not twisted, because I just did that and I had to undo it all. So lay them out flat, make sure that they are not twisted. See how there's a twist here? We've got to get rid of it. We've got to go that way. All flat, all correct. Make sure that the hook's the right way, put the string the right way, and now we can carry on. Yeah, it wasn't fun undoing my own knots, so make sure your handles are not twisted. All right, so we're all done and fixed my mistake. So we now have our two handles. We have two stitch markers holding the floating corners down, just so that nothing stretches out of place. So the next thing to do is we are going to add the moss stitch border. So now we don't need these stitch markers on the corners, because it doesn't really matter where we start the moss stitch. And what the moss stitch is going to do is it's going to go around these corners and up over the handle around the corners. It's not going in the middle here. So we'll just pick a corner. I'm going to start with this corner because that's where that's where my end of the cream is. And what I've done is I've got all the colours out that I used for the body of it, and I'm going to do them in the order that it's on the bag. So I'm going to start with the yellow. Now, if you haven't done moss stitch before, it's a combination of single crochets and chains, and where there's a chain, you skip the stitch below. So I'm going to start with a standing single crochet. So the slip knot is on my hook. I'm going to pick this one here, that way I know I haven't forgotten to do the join as a stitch. All right, so we will wait for the focus to come back. So we have joined, pop goes the whistle. Our first stitch is in where the last row joined. Then we want to do one chain. We want to skip this one and go into this one. And that is all we do. Okay, then bring it closer. So we just do a chain, skip that one, go into this one. This is a very simple pattern that looks really effective. So I'm going to keep going until I get to the handle, and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm at the handle now. I'm actually a little bit away, but I've just done a stitch and I've done a chain. So now what I'm going to do is in the edge of the corner where the handle is coming out, the next 3 stitches I'm going to do a gather. There, like that. I'll take that out and do that again just so you can see, because I noticed it wasn't in focus. So we're skipping this one. We are picking up 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we're only skipping 2 in moss stitch because we would only gathering 2 because we would have skipped that one. What this does is it makes the handle stand more upright. Now we start working up the handle, doing moss stitch, chain 1. So we've got the chain 1. We're going to skip that one, do this one. Chain 1. Skip the next, do the one after. So we're going to walk, see how it's sort of like bent the corner? That's our 3 gather there. Come on, focus, come back. So I will carry on over the top of the handle, and I'll show you how to do the gather stitch on the other side of the handle. All right, so I'm back and I'm on the down corner. The other one was the up corner, if that makes sense. So we'll just do the chain. Now, this one here we are skipping. So we are going into this one, the next one, and the next one. So it's 3 that we're putting together. We've got our skipped one here, and then pull through the lot, and then skipped one. This here is our floating corner. That will get fixed. Do not worry about it. It will get fixed. So that's how you do the 2 corners on the first row. Now with this handle, you only do this on every second row or first row. One row you do it, one row you don't. So whether you do it on the first row or the second row, you don't need it every row because it will pull the handles right over. You only want them to stay upright. So we'll just continue around with this yellow. I will do the other 2 corners, and then I will do one more row, one plain row without the gathers, just so you can see what it's doing. And then I will finish the colours so the handle is done. I'm only going to do one lot of the colours. I think that will make the handle, it'll be about that big. I think that's wide enough for a handle. And then I'll show you how to fix the floating corners, and then this bag will be done, and then I'll just show you what to do on the 2 handle bag. All right, I'm back, and good news, I think the cat's gone to sleep, so that's great. So I'm now back. Now as you can see, I must have miscounted somewhere, and I should have another chain here, but I don't. The good thing about moss stitch is you can put it in and no one will know. We won't tell. So you just go like that, and that is the end of the row. I do 2 chain stitches to secure mine. You didn't see that, did you? It was all out of focus. All right, let's try that again. So we've got back. And I'm 1 stitch short. I must have put one in the wrong place or something. So we put the chain in that we're missing, because this would have been a skip to get us here, and then we just join with a slip stitch to the slip knot that we started with. You see that? It's put the hole in even though there's not a stitch there. And then we just chain 2, and that does your knot. Cut yourself a tail, and then use your thumbnail just to tighten it up. And that is the first row done. So we'll get that out of the way. Now we need the next colour, which is deep pink. Make ourselves a slip knot. Do it off camera because not enough room. Let's just move these up a little bit so I can see. All right, so we're back here again. Now, when you start your second row, you can either start at the one behind the joint or the one in front of the joint. You want to start in a gap. It doesn't matter which one. I do suggest every second row you start in line with it. I might go this side because there's a lot of bulk here from coming up with the half double crochets. So we'll put our loop on our hook, pull it tight. So we've now got another standing single crochet, and we will start off again with that, and then that, and then move all the strings out the way at the back so that we're not catching them, and chain, and 1, and chain, and 1. And so we keep doing this, and what I'll do, I'll do this bit here, and I'll come when I get to here so I can show you how to go over the gather. All right, so we got up to the gather, we've done the chain, so we go into this gap, do a single crochet, do our chain. Now we skip the gather and go into the chain that was just after it. So if I hold the handle, that's turned the corner for us. And so we chain again and then into the next space. Chain. There's our stitch into the next space and carry on. So you regard the gather stitch as the single stitch like that, as from the row before, but it's made a right angle. So on the next row we will gather this, this and this to bring it more upright. And I will see you when I have done, I'll come back after I've done the next row so you can see what it looks like to put the next gather in. All right, I'm back. So I finished the pink row, and as you can see, I'm starting to get my dots and dashes. For this one, I started the purple in the same place I started the yellow, so they line up. So when I do the next color, it will line up with this one. But I'm at the corner now, and I'm just going to show you how you do the next gathering stitch. So I've done the stitch, I've done the chain. So we just go in that loop, and in that one there, making sure we don't split the stitch. So we now have 4 stitches on the hook, and we've just picked up another loop. We pull through the lot, and then we do the chain. And then we carry on with the rest of the moss stitch. And there we go. It's put our handle more upright again. That's why we're doing the gathering stitches, so that the handle comes upright, perpendicular, that's my big word for today, to the bag. All right. So with this bag, I'm going to do the rest of the purple row. Then I'm going to do the blue. And then I'm going to hope I have enough of the green left to do the green row. And then I will finish off with the dark green. I don't do any other fancy stitches. They will all be moss stitch. We're going to be alternating with gathers in the corners, no gathers, gathers in the corner, no gathers. That is all we're going to do with this. Once I get to the dark green, that's the top edges of the handle all finished. Then I will come back and just show you how to do this inside part of the armhole, and this bag will be finished. All right, so I will be back to show you the inside of the armhole. All right, we're back, and the outside of the handles is done. So I did run out of the green, so I found a substitute. It's not quite as bright a green, and it is a little bit thicker. But for the handle, I think it would be fine, and it is still cotton, so we've still got the same makeup of the yarn. So we've done this. We had 1, 2, 3 lots of the decrease stitches, and then we finished with a plain row stitch. Now, I would suggest you do finish with a plain row stitch, not with a decrease row, but if that works out that way for you, well, that's the way it is. And you can see on the side, see how the sides just come in? You do want the top narrower than the sides, so that's good. And that, as you can see, our decreased stitches have made the handle at a right angle, which makes it a bit stronger, so it's going to be pulling straight up rather than out or in. And now all we have to do is do this little bit in here. So we just get our base yarn again. I just put a slip knot on there, and all we're going to do, we're going to start in the middle. Move it up so you can see. We're going to start in the middle. It doesn't have to be exact middle, approximate middle will do. If you remember, it's 23 stitches, so it's not exactly even. And all we're going to do is we're going to run a row of single crochet around the inside. Now, if you don't like the way that looks, you can run this single crochet only in the back loops, which I'll show you. So you just pick up, try and get the focus back. We're just picking up the back loop. Now what the single crochet does is it will give you a firm edge. And you just do that all the way around. Now bear with the screen moving for a bit because I just want to show you how we secure the floating corner. And you're going to be doing this on both sides, as in the other side where the stitch marker still is. All right, so let's flatten that out. Okay, we'll do one more. So now we take this off so we can see our stitches. So we want to go the back loop there, and then we want to go through both loops on this, just this one. Bring them all through and stitch. And what that's done, it's brought it down, but it's also gathered that one stitch. And now you go through the back loop on the bottom of the foundation stitch. So if I hold it up, you see that there's, when it comes into focus again, you see how there's two stitches, two loops? We want the back one, like so. And then the next one, when it comes into focus again, come on. Sometimes it just doesn't want to focus. Hold still, come on. It's focusing behind. Ah, here we go. Now, right there. All right, and then finish it off. So what it does is that it puts like a little ridge, but it also gathers it in and secures it. So you just do that all the way around, doing the same thing on the other corner. You could do that corner normally. This fancy bit here is only for the floating corner. And that is the end of how you make the bag. Once you've done that, you're all finished. So all I was going to say also on this subject, let me just move this out the way. If you've done a 2-color bag, right? So this one here, I did a 2-color bag. Now, everything about doing the handle is the same, except you just use the one color. Now, this will come out a little bit stronger because this has got the cream between each one. It's like diluted the color a little bit. So this will come out stronger. I don't think that's a bad thing. And every other step is the same with the marking out, with the gather stitches. You do everything the same. You're just doing it with one ball of yarn rather than what was it, 6? All right. So that's all is different with that. So follow these same instructions, but just stay with the one ball of yarn. All right. So move that out the way. Move that out the way. And now we look at the 8-ply bag. Now this, as you remember, this one is a smaller bag done with 8-ply. So our numbers are different, and it's also a 2-color bag. So therefore, this is all we have. Now, I do have this here is this yarn. You wouldn't think so, but it is. So as I said, for the 2-color 4-ply bag, I am only going to use this on the handle and trim with this because I only have one ball of this black, but I have 2 balls of the color. So therefore, we're going to use more of the color than the black. And this is all tangled up inside the bag, of course. All right, I'm going to be back in a tick once I get all this untangled. All right, I'm back again and I'm untangled. What I've done is I've just cut off my coloured one and just left a fairly decent tail. And this first step is just like the other one, where we're going to do 2 rows of HDC, half double crochets. On the screen might be a good idea. So just 2 half double crochets. Not 2 rows. All right, I'm going to do that and I'll be back. So I'll do the 2 rows and then I'm going to cut the black off because this is in the middle of the side and I don't want it there. I want it on the end. So I'll be back when I've done that. All right, I'm back now. What I've done though is I didn't do 2 rows. I only did 1 because I forgot that this was 8 ply. So 1 row will be enough. Now, and I've also flattened out the bag and put a stitch marker in the very, very side stitches, so the ones that are right on the side. And now I'm going to reattach yarn to not the one that's right on the edge, not the one that I've marked. I want the one next to it. Hang on, would it be that one? Yes, it would. Okay, so just get that through there. And we're going to do half double crochets, put it through the hole might help, like that, from this one here all the way around to the one before where the other marker is. All right, and I will be back when I get to there. All right, so we're back and we've done that. So now what we want to do is we need to make the strap that goes over the top. And if you remember when we first started the bag, I'm just going to take this out of the way, otherwise we'll get all tangled up, is that we did something called a tubular cast on. Now, hopefully you enjoyed that because we're going to do it again when the focus comes back. All right, is it back now? Yes, all right. So we get this is the other end of my ball of yarn, okay? My ball has basically disintegrated all over the table, but I found the other end. So we're just going to hold that there and we're going to loop it over, pick up a stitch, pull it through. Loop it over, pick up a loop, pull it through. Pick up a stitch, loop it over, pull it through. Pick up a stitch. I'm saying the wrong words, aren't I? Put the tail loop over and pull through. Tail loop over, pull through. So I think we're going to need 60 of those. You just pull that tight and it's all good. You can see the chain that it's making. So I will be back when I've done 60. We'll see if it's long enough. We may need to go more, but we've got to remember it's 8 ply, so it's going to go further. We'll be back. All right, we're back. Now I did 60 and it was about here on the looping. And you've got to remember we're doing more edges, so we're going to lose it. So I went up to 80 on the tubular cast on. I haven't let it go, so it shouldn't twist. And we will join it to the I'll turn this around. We are now looking, this is where our row started, right? And we're now looking at the inside of the bag. Okay, if it will focus for me. Right. So this is the inside of the bag. That's our stitch marker that was on the edge. So we'll take the stitch marker out, and what we want to do is go like that and go into the next stitch. and this is a half double crochet. So we're going into the back of the last row, going through both loops. Hopefully you can see that. So through there, half double crochet. All right, so this is our string that we started the row with. This is our tubular cast on that we've come back, and now we're going, this is the inside of the bag I'm looking at. We're going that way with half double crochets, and what we will do, we will end up coming around and meet where this is, and we will join through this stitch with a slip stitch, and I'll be back when I'm there just to show you that. All right, so we've come back around. We're still looking at, this is the inside of the bag. We've come back around to where our tubular cast on started, so we're just going to go, and my thread that I'm using is under the handle, so I'm just going to go like that, pick up that thread, pull it through the stitch that's before the tubular cast on, and then pulling the thread from the other side of the handle, do the 2 chains and cut it off like so. Pull the string. All right, so just scratch that down with your fingernail. Now, looking at it from this side, we have 2 strings. So we can pull, this one here was the one that started the tubular cast on. We can pull that to the inside like so. And then those 2 strings can actually be tied together to help secure them. You don't have to do it straight away, but that, and then you hide the ends. So that's one side of the handle. Now we'll go around to the other side. And at the other side, we also have 2 strings. Isn't that cool? We got 2 strings to help secure our handle. This string is still attached to the other end of our ball of yarn. So we'll cut that off. And so these 2, they can just tie, but what I would do, if you notice, this is quite slender here. So I would pull this one, hopefully that you can see that. I've just stuck the crochet hook through, and I'm just pulling that one through that side. Did that get through? Yes, it did. So hopefully you can see this. I know it's really dark, I apologize. So this is our knot that started the whole row. If we pull it through, that knot will pop through there, and then we can tie them together at the back. I'll do a surgeon's knot, so that's 1, 2, pull that tight, snug that right down, and then we'll do the other half, 1, 2, and tie that off. So now we have both ends have been, well, I haven't tied the other end, but I will do, secured in, and they're nice and firm. Okay, so that is how we start off the handle. Move that up again. Got too much stuff on my table. All right, so now what we have to do, this is way too skinny for a handle for a handbag. If it was chain, maybe. Now, I have this much of the original ball left, and I have a second ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how much the original ball remainder, how far that will get me. And then we'll see what it looks like, because we're going to be doing the same thing as we did on the other one, but on the 2 handle, we're going to be doing this every second row decrease either side of this handle, but we're going to work one side and then work the other side and make it match, if you get my drift. So I'm going to pick a side. I'm going to pick this side. Now, so I've just done a slip knot onto there. All right, my first row is not going to be a decreasing row, you know, with the 3 in the corner, so that I can get the join where it's not visible. So my first one, I will hopefully this will show. Right. Can you see that dot there? I know it's dark, it's very hard to see. That is the closest stitch to where the handle comes out. All right. Now I'm going to work away from the handle. So pick this up, do a chain. So that's our first single crochet. Chain one, skip that stitch, go in the next one. And I will work my way across doing the moss stitch. And I will come back again when I get to the handle, show you how to turn the corner. All right, I'm back and we have just got to here. Now that will be our skipped one. We've got our chain under the hook. So we're going to go right in here. See, there's one there and one there. That's where our next stitch is. So we do the single crochet, then we do the chain. Now, hopefully you can see this. There is a stitch there and then there's a stitch there. That's the one we want to go through. You want to make sure that there is 2 strands on the top of your hook, and then we go chain 1 and make sure this is not twisted. So there's the next stitch, then there's that one. Always make sure you have 2 strands on the top of your hook and keep going. And that's how we turn the corner. And all right, I'll go along the handle until I'm back to where I started, back over here. And I'll be back there to show you how to join up and start the decrease row. All right, we're back. Now, right at the end, it does try to twist over. So you've got to make sure that you're in the right spot, which there's a stitch there. And then the very last stitch is like the beginning stitch. And it's a bit recalcitrant. That's my big word for this afternoon. And that is the last stitch there. Now, this goes here. That's our missed stitch. We need to put a chain in, don't we? Chain 1 and join. All right. Now, if you remember what I said, for the 2 colour bags, we use the same yarn all the way around. So what we need to do is we need to chain 1, and that will be our skip. No, will it be a skip? No, it won't be our skip. Start making sense. That will just get us high enough. But we are at the corner. So we're going to have to do a decrease here. So what that is gets us high enough, but it also is the first part of our decrease. So that will be 1, that'll be 2, that'll be 3. So I'm not going to add another chain. I'm just going to start going on the next row. But what I will do is I'll put a stitch marker there, so I know that that is where I pull from for the decrease that's going to be right there. So we're up, we're going, so we go around again, making it thicker. And I will be back when I've got to the next corner where the handle comes away from the bag. Okay, so we're back now. Now on the way, my yarn ran out right here. So I've done a loose overhand knot and a decent tail, and I'll come back afterwards and I'll hide that end. And also the next ball, the colorway was running the opposite direction, so I now have to reel from the outside rather than the inside to get the colorway right. But anyway, it'll work. So I'll just go down here, get the focus back. Yep. Now we are 1 stitch away from the corner. So we go 1, 2, and 3. Same as we did on the other bag. Pull through all 3 and lose it. Try that again. Doesn't help that my thread is too short, too long. So 1, 2, and 3. Don't lose it this time. Pull it through and then chain 1, which has now made our handle pull back upright again. If I don't do this here, the handle will start sloping that way. Then when I do the other side, it'll try and slope the other way and you'll have a big buckle right here and it'll look there. Okay, and I apologize for my fingertip. That's what happens when you do 4 bags. 4 bags in 1 week. But anyway, so once again, we're going to keep going, doing our moss stitch all the way up and over the other side. Do the decrease the same on the other side and carry on. Now, I will come back to you when I think this side of the handle is thick enough. Now you got to remember what I'm doing on this side, I have to repeat on that side. So I'm only going to do this half as wide as I want the finished handle to be. I'm guessing 3 more rows. Yeah, that would look right, because then that'll make it that wide and it won't be a too skinny handle. And I will show you, I'll end off this and I will show you how to start the other side. And I will see you then. Me again. I just realized I got to show you how to do this. I'm sorry. So we'll take off our stitch marker. Now once again, we're one stitch away from the corner. We've done our chain. So we go pick up that one, pick up that one, and then we pick up the first one. Just make sure we're not, yeah, we've got to make sure that one at the back, we're under it. And then we pull through, but what that's also doing is it's slip stitching the join together. So now I will do a chain. You should know it's going to make it too high, isn't it? We will need to do a slip stitch down there, I think, into the top of that one. Now that has put us there. So now we go and carry on. I think it would be a good idea to keep putting the stitch marker in so we know where the first one is. Because we're dealing with single crochets, they sometimes look the same. So that's where we join to. And away we go. And that, you see, that's our join there. Handle's nice and perpendicular. Perpendicular to the body of the bag. All right. Now I'll be back when I said I was going to be back. All right. So we are done this handle now. I ended up doing 1, 2, 3 rows. But you've also got to remember it's going to be double that. So if I go like that, that's how wide the handle's going to be. Give my finger for reference. So that's about 3.5 centimeters. And I think that's wide enough for a handbag. You're not going to be putting a ton of weight in here. At least you shouldn't be. So this is our end here. That was just joining up to where we had the stitch marker. So I will hide that in later on. So what we do now, we turn the whole thing over and we find the end of my yarn, which is here somewhere. There it is. It's blue this time. Hang on. I'll be back in a minute. Get rid of the knots. All right, I'm back. I got the knots out and I started this row. Now, this row I've just done the same as the other. We started right on the stitch, right in the corner. We're just doing the moss stitch all the way along. What I wanted to show you with this one is how you join up to the tubular cast on. Now, we have done our last stitch here. Now, theoretically, sorry I keep saying now, I apologize. You can put your stitch here. What that'll do is that will cover up a lot of the black show you what I mean. You will still get some flashes of it, but there won't be as much black visible. Or you can keep the black visible by just going through there without getting that purple involved. So these are the underneath of the stitches of the other side so that they will line up. It's really your choice which one you do. The bag will work either way. If lining them up works for you, you go for it. I probably, yeah, let's do a couple more and just see. It gives you a line of black dots down the middle. Yeah, I might leave that because then it echoes what this looks like. Not exactly the same, but similar. So you can either put them between, which will cover them all black, or put them in line with the other stitches. So if I turn it that way, that's those stitches. And that's what you do. So I will do 3 rows on this side, and the second row will have a decrease in here to bring it more upright. And then that bag is finished. So that's all the parts of the bags. Now, as I said, I might put a lining and a zip in this one because it will be a handbag and you don't want things falling out the holes, you know, like keys or biros or whatever. So I will do all that this week coming, and hopefully also write out the pattern. So there'll be one more video in this series which will show you all the finished bags. It'll give you the link to the pattern, and I'll show you any little other bits I've added in the meantime. If you like this bag, thank you for following along. Sorry for a bit of the delay this week, but like I said, I didn't realize I was going to do 4 bags, but anyway, we have. And if you like, subscribe so you don't miss out. I've put all these into a playlist, so when I I'll also put a link on any posts I do to the first one, and they will play one after the other. I will also, if I can do it, make one more bag from scratch with all new wool, so I have the right amounts to tell you in the pattern. See, all of this has been done with stuff I already had here, and some of the balls have been started, so I can't really say how much I've used. Hopefully I can get all that done this week, as well as other things I have to do. So if you like this content, please subscribe. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything. And like it and share it. That way more people get to see it, and then I can do more of them. And I will see you on the next one.